Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of In My Head with Nyesha. I'm so happy that you guys are here. And if this is your first time listening, welcome. This podcast is exactly what it sounds like. It's a place where I let you into my head. The thoughts I'm processing, the lessons I'm learning, the questions I'm still trying to answer, and hopefully the reminders that make you feel a little less alone. So before we get started, I want to tell you about something that's become super special to me. If you've been following me for a little bit, you might have heard me mention Leave It on the Line. I created it because I realized something. Not because I needed it, but because I realized something. And it's something that I realized during my own healing journey. Sometimes we don't need advice, and sometimes we don't need someone that's going to fix us. Sometimes we just need a safe place to say the things that we've been carrying. So that's what Leave It on the Line is. It's a place where people anonymously leave voicemails about the things on their hearts. So whether you're grieving, celebrating, questioning life, healing from relationships, or just trying to make it through another day, it's real, it's raw, and honestly, it's beautiful. So if today's conversation resonates with you, I hope that maybe you'll stop by afterwards, because I'll be uploading even more anonymous voicemails today. And you never know whose story might remind you that you're not alone. Now, let's get into today's episode. So, have you guys ever felt like you're trying to become a better version of yourself while life keeps handing you more responsibilities? Because that's where I've been. I think people imagine healing as something that happens when your life finally starts to slow down. Like one day you'll just wake up and everything will be peaceful, your schedule will be empty, all of your stress will disappear, and then you'll have time to work on yourself. But my life hasn't looked anything like that. I've been healing while raising 2 little boys. I've been healing while going back to school full time for a second degree. I've been healing while trying to build this podcast, create Leave It on the Line, and figure out what the next chapter of my life is going to look like. And somewhere in the middle of all of that, I've also been trying to find me again. Not just mom, not just a student, not just someone known for everything that I've survived through. Just Nyesha. And I think for a long time, survival became a part of my personality. When you've spent so much of your life just trying to make it through the day, you almost forget what it's like to actually live. You get so used to putting out fires that peace feels unfamiliar. And over the last several months, I've noticed something changing in me. And it's not dramatic. There wasn't this big breakthrough moment. There wasn't one day where I just woke up and suddenly I had it all figured out. It's been like little things. I've stopped feeling like I need to explain myself to everyone. I've gotten better at protecting my own peace. I've learned that not every disagreement deserves my energy. Not every unanswered text deserves my anxiety. Not every relationship is meant to last forever. And that's been one of the hardest lessons for me. Learning that letting go is not the same as giving up. Sometimes it's choosing yourself. Sometimes healing looks like walking away from what keeps hurting you. And other times, healing looks like staying exactly where you are and continuing to build your life better anyways. People ask me all the time how I balance everything. And honestly, some days I don't. Some days my house isn't perfectly clean. Some days I'm turning in my homework 2 minutes before it's due. Some days I feel guilty because I'm working on school while my boys are playing. Other days I feel guilty because I'm playing with my boys instead of doing schoolwork. There's no perfect balance. And I know for sure I'm not the only parent that feels that way. The mental load is exhausting. It's remembering appointments, planning meals, keeping up with school, thinking about your bills, making sure your kids have everything they need, trying to remember when your discussion post is supposed to be due, wondering what career move comes next, trying to build a future while still living in the present. People see us functioning, but they don't always see how loud our minds are. Then there's something I don't think people talk enough about. Adult loneliness. Not because you don't have people around you. You could be surrounded by people. But because everyone's busy trying to survive their own lives, friendships change. Schedules change. People grow apart. People move. And some days, the only people you really talk to are going to be your kids. I've had moments where I've wondered, who am I becoming? Not because I don't know myself anymore, but because I'm becoming someone I've never been before. I'm creating a version of myself that isn't built on survival. A version that's built on peace, on boundaries, on purpose, on growth. And honestly, it's scary. Because growth asks you to leave behind the version of yourself that got you here. Even if she did everything she could to survive, she doesn't have to carry you forever. I've also realized that I don't want every conversation to be about the hardest parts of my life. Yes, my past matters. It shaped me, it taught me, it changed me. But it doesn't get to write every single chapter that comes after it. I'm allowed to laugh. I'm allowed to dream. I'm allowed to be excited about graduating again, about creating content, building businesses, discovering new hobbies, about falling in love with my life again. Healing isn't forgetting your past. It's finally believing that you deserve a future that's bigger than it. And if there's one thing that I've learned during this season, it's that growth doesn't always look dramatic. Sometimes growth looks like waking up when you'd rather stay in bed, submitting the assignment, packing the lunches, recording the podcast when you're tired, starting over, again, choosing peace, again, believing in yourself, again. Those small moments matter. They're the foundation you're building your future on. So if you're listening to this while you're in the middle of rebuilding your own life, I hope that you'll give yourself a little more grace. You don't have to have everything figured out, and you don't have to feel healed to be healing. And you don't have to pause your life to become the person you're meant to be. Sometimes you become that person while you're living through the busiest, hardest, and most ordinary days of your life. Thank you for spending this time with me. And if today's episode resonated with you, I'd love for you guys to share it with someone who's been rebuilding themselves too. Or maybe today's the day you leave your own story on the line. Until next time, guys. Later.